Next question. I'm a chef in a large operation kitchen. I'm second in command overseeing a large kitchen staff and part of a 5-person management team overseeing the entire account. Recently, during my last review, I was given some advice by my boss and his boss I'm unsure about. My last 2 annual reviews have gone very well, and I'm on the rise in the company. However, they said if it was important for me to get, they said it was important for me to give up some of my kitchen dog mentality and work to showcase my artistic side and embrace more of a star role in the spotlight. Get out of the kitchen a bit more, gain more exposure, specifically with our high-profile clients. While I appreciate their sentiment and respect their big management skills, their style isn't one I strive to emulate or feel would work for me and the way I operate. I have always approached my work as more of a craft than an art, and I've always liked being a trench dog with my team. My team responds to it, and I get results for the business, and I feel the results should speak for themselves. It has propelled my career rapidly thus far, so why would I want to change and be something I'm not? Should I heed their advice or stick to what I do best and keep getting after it on my terms?
It's one of those questions.
Sure.
That's just funny how that last statement is framed, right?
Yeah.
Should I stick to what I do best and keep getting after it?
As if to say, if you say no, you should not stick to what you do best.
Yeah,
it's like,
and you should not get after it, right? That's the frame there. And actually, this guy, I answered the question real tersely. I think this came through Facebook messages. I said, sounds like you found a comfortable zone for yourself, and you want to stay in there. Right? A little cold-blooded response, and he's like, I knew it. Because, as we know, in the comfort zone, there's no growth in the comfort zone.
No growth in the comfort zone.
So it's interesting. This guy is actually getting some good, solid, and straightforward advice from up the chain of command. Plus, I think if they have him as more of a personality, then the restaurant will do better, and they're trying to build their reputation and your reputation at the same time, and that seems pretty reasonable to me, right? And I'm not real familiar with the restaurant business, but I'm familiar enough to know if you've got a good reputation with the staff that works at the restaurant, it brings in more people. Like, there's no doubt about it. The relationship, just like any other business, the relationships that you build with the customers strengthens that relationship and makes them want to come back for more. Yeah. Right? That's the way it works.
Yep.
And so for them to say to you, hey man, you're a good cook. We get that, but we need a little bit more. We want a little bit more.
Chef.
We need somebody that has, chef. Sorry.
Can't say cook.
You're a good chef.
It's a different thing.
Yeah, sorry. You're a good chef. Well, actually, what I think I might have actually purposely said that. Like, hey, you're doing a good job in the kitchen as a cook. We don't need someone that's just cooking the food. We need a chef with a reputation, with a personality, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference there, right?
Yes, sir.
So it was called out for a reason.
Gotcha.
He's happy, and you can see, like, kitchen dog.
Yeah,
he's proud of that, right?
Yeah.
And I get that, man. I get that. I get that. Like, you're one of the boys. You're back in the grind. But let me ask you this. Or let me make this statement. Guess what you have to do as a SEAL? As a SEAL leader, guess what you have to do? You have to build relationships. You have to make your commanding officer trust you. You have to build relationships with the Army. You have to build relationships with the Marine Corps. You have to, and in order to do that, you have to you have to call a little bit of attention to yourself and raise your hand and say, hey, this is who I am. You have to this is who I am. You have to step into the spotlight a little bit so that you can let people know who you are, because if people don't know who you are, how do you have a relationship with them? And if you don't have a relationship with people, how can they trust you? So that's part of it, right? That's part of what they're asking you to do. Now, in all seriousness, if you really don't want to do it, well, then you can keep being the guy that's in the back, and guess what? You're going to be mad in 6 months when some other chef gets hired for a different shift, and all of a sudden he's out making friends with everyone and he gets promoted. And why does he get promoted? Well, look at what the guy's doing. But he's not as good as a cook as I am. Guess what? They don't really care. Making the food is only part of what they want you to do. Just like being a SEAL, doing missions is only part of what you need to do the mission.
Yeah.
You can't just be tactically sound. You've got to have the relationships built so you can work in the battle space that's owned by a conventional commander. You got to have the relationship that you can get your missions approved up the chain of command on the special operations side. How do you do that? You build. You go out, you talk to people, you get out of your comfort zone. It's a weird thing. You know, I'm kind of antisocial, right? Like, if you don't know me, we're not going to have a conversation. You know, like we're not having it's not. I'm not walking up and talking to you. If I don't know you, I'm not walking up and saying hi to you. It's not happening. It's not my personality. If you say hi to me, I'll say hi. I'm not disrespectful. I'm not rude, but I'm not looking to have a bunch of conversations with people. And so that's known to me. But that's not okay for the business side of my life, which is, hey, I got to talk to people, got to build relationships, had to know my commanding officer, had to know the commodore, had to know the conventional battalion commander, had to know the brigade commander, had to build relationships. Could I just talk about war with the brigade commander? Well, I could, but what's more powerful? That I talk about war and I talk about where I'm from or where he's from or what, other things? Yes, because I want to build a relationship with him. Why? Because I'm trying to build trust. What? Why? Because I want him to allow me to go out there and do things in his battle space. So that's what they're asking you. They're asking you to step out of your comfort zone. Does it need to become your primary focus? No. Should you try and step out of the comfort zone? If you want to grow, if you want to have more opportunity, I would give it a try. If not, like I said, if you hate it and you feel like you're not being true to your true self, that's okay. Maybe your true self is meant to be the one that's back not getting promoted.
Yeah.
They need somebody to do that.
Yeah.
If it's not you, it might be somebody else.
Yeah.
It's another one of those tough questions where people, hit me with like, should I be loyal to myself? Because the obvious answer that everyone wants to hear is like, yeah, dude, the most important thing is you got to be loyal to yourself. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's what your priority is, then that's the most important thing. But guess what? Who can take care of the other kitchen dogs that respect you so much? Who can take a better care of them than you can? Because if you don't get promoted, and Johnny Glamour Boy gets promoted because he likes to go out and schmooze the clients, and now he gets promoted, and now who's going to take care of the kitchen dogs on his time, right? Not him. He doesn't care. He got promoted not for taking care of his guys. He got promoted because he schmoozed the clients.
Yeah, man.
Play the game a little bit.
It's weird, man. You're explaining that, and it's like makes complete sense. I'm thinking of it in terms of like being I don't know. I guess it applies to any relationship you have. So like, let's say, okay, you have a wife, right? You're married, whatever, and so your wife wants to go to, hypothetically, I don't know, Vermont, right? And you're like, hey, I don't like Vermont. Go to Vermont or whatever. But your wife's like, hey, I want you to come because I like spending time with you and all this stuff. And as a husband, you're like, hey, I like spending time with you too. Why can't we do something that I specifically like to do or whatever? And it has to do a lot of times with like maybe your wife's friends or the in-laws. So I don't want to hang with them. I want to hang with you, but I don't want to hang with them. And the wife wants to hang with you with the friends and all this stuff or whatever. But a lot of the time, in my case, might have been me just sticking in my little comfort zone. Like the people that I like to hang out with, there's like set stuff that I know they're into and I know that they like to talk about and all this stuff. And I'm essentially rejecting being open to new or other stuff. That's kind of like a situation. But in a way, I'm kind of doing what this guy's implying, where it's like, I'm going to stay true to myself and my interests and all this stuff. I love my wife 100%. That has nothing to do with it. Vermont has nothing to do with me and my wife, But why shouldn't I step outside of my comfort zone and, try to accommodate her wishes in this way? It's not a make or break a relationship or nothing like that. But if I do that, if I just exercise the ability to be open, I become more valuable of a husband, more valuable. I offer more value in the relationship and as a person. So same exact thing when you're explaining this, when this guy's explaining where he's awesome as a chef in the back, doing doing his deal, doing what he does best. Awesome. But these guys see it. His superiors see it, obviously, where they're like, hey, we want you to do this more stuff even because you're awesome. And man, imagine if you had this more stuff. You know how valuable you would be as a XYZ, whatever the position is, in this case as a chef. And to reject that is essentially to say, you know what, I don't want to be more valuable as a chef, or I don't want to be more valuable as a husband. I'd prefer to stick with my current value. I don't want to upgrade.
There you go.
I refuse to upgrade because I'm staying true to myself. Just saying. Anyway, next question.
I mean, can you cross the line and get to a point where you make yourself sick because you've done, then you've gone too far. That's the dichotomy of leadership. Like, if you become just a disgusting sycophant, then guess what? That's not good. Yeah. So I'm not talking about that. Yeah. I'm not talking about leaving your values and abandoning your values. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about playing the game a little bit. There's a big difference.
Step outside of the comfort zone, play the game a little bit. At the very least, do it with an open mind. See how you like it. What if you were like, you got real good at that? You know how like public speaking, for example, where I'm no exception. A lot of people, they don't like public speaking. Even though they might have a lot to say or whatever, like some people, like they're smart, but I don't want to get up on stage, nothing like that. That's dumb. I'm not a star. I don't want the limelight on me and all this stuff. And they do it one time and they offer like just so much value doing it. And then they get used to it and then all of a sudden they kind of like it, It could be one of those deals.
Could be.
You never know until you try it.